Yeah, we got a hell of a rock bill, don't we? We.
Usually it's about 60-some thousand a month, but for the price on it, be all a couple tons.
Stockpiling it.
No, you put it on the roads.
Really?
No, we still have a pilot.
Wow.
Yeah, they put a lot of it on the roads.
Hopefully it's not too early and it just gets smashed into the ground.
Right.
Yeah, it's just about half of our planes.
Mhm.
Well, should we get this show on the road?
Yes.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Well, with that, I'll call our meeting to order. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda for April 18th.
Second,
Okay, got a motion and a second, all in favor?
aye. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for April 11th to 2023.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Well, let's jump over claims and go down to meetings attended.
We had a Board of Health meeting last Tuesday. The Board of Health approved the PHEP grant application, the immunization grant application, and fiscal year 24 state grant application. They also approved and reviewed the annual report. They gave a QAPI update. And then we went and looked in the loan closet where they loan out wheelchairs and walkers and crutches and all that stuff. There was some discussion on if we should have a policy to get some of those items returned, specifically wheelchairs. They have an overabundance of walkers and crutches, which they don't really care if they get those back. But the wheelchairs are very expensive. And what they've noticed is they'll go on temporary loan and they'll be on loan until the person passes away. And then the wheelchair's never returned. And so I think they're going to come up with a policy that basically it's 3 months or 90 days temporary use until they can find another one, or if they don't return it, then there'll be a bill of some kind or a deposit of some kind, non-refundable deposit or something.
I wonder, because Hy-Vee on the back of it, they put property of Hy-Vee.
They have, and they,
Yeah.
Weiss County has stickers on
Oh, do they?
everything. It says, please return to, they'll get a phone call 5 years later
Yeah.
that says, hey, is this your wheel? And by then it's all
Yeah.
trashed out and
Yeah.
I mean, I asked her what the cost of the, yeah, $500, $600, $800, some of them.
There's almost 800.
So. I didn't know they had that loan. But we're gonna try to figure out how to. Figure that out, but other than that, it was a pretty routine meeting. That's all I had.
Out to the complex, we got one review today, and possible approve is, we're just trying to get the things, bids in and, try to with this project, keep it going and, we're gonna go out over here. It's hard to get everybody together, but, we had a group out there, Friday. I didn't make it out with them, but, they're looking at the piping, so we'll get that and then probably get, probably another one also. But today we have conduit. We have a conduit and internet update at the sheriff's side, so that will take us into quite a few years. That'll be a 680, I think it is, so that they'll handle the fiber, high-speed fiber, stuff like that.
I had two contractors ask me for bid packages, so.
Yeah.
Local,
Good,
so
Good.
that's good.
yeah. And we're getting a lot of our locals involved in that out there, so.
Good.
Yep. I think that's. Oh, I had a couple places that I guess they're forming salvage yards here in the county. I got a hold of Brian Friday and yesterday to talk about that. There's one out on top of the hill by Brian Fletcher's that started bringing junk cars in on top of the hill. And then there's one out the other side of Grandview that he's looking into. That people are saying too many junk cars. Taking them off the road quite a ways, but they're not noticeable from the roads. Other than that, I think that's everything.
Okay, I had a couple meetings, but my schedule wouldn't allow me to make it there. On that later, no public here, there's no payroll changes. The quarterly report, we just review and file, I'll get it, and then here's the other ambulance report.
This is different.
Mhm.
I thought they was gonna make it like
Yeah, I know. I think I'll bring that up maybe. Thank you at our next meeting. And we need to get everybody on the same view. So somebody has this highlighted in the sheriff's report, com fee. Is that commissary fee? Is that what that is?
Probably,
Why is it highlighted?
I have no idea.
Who highlighted it? They do forensic files on whose highlighter this was? Don't, it on 2 pages, the commissary fee for $1,200. Is that?
Yeah, I don't know, I didn't even see it.
you want to look at them.
I'll ask Brandon. Right, see. Well, you think it's on?
Is the commissary what they can buy?
Yeah, I think COMM, I'm guessing that means commissary. Fee, I don't know what a fee is.
The bill will be in here.
It'd have to be under the sheriff's. Okay, here it is. So, no. Cause these are all local people. That are not in jail, cause one of them is Randy Griffin.
Well, how do you know he's not in jail?
Well, I don't know.
Well,
All of these people. Add up to that, which is this. Commissioners.
Are they commissioners? I don't know.
okay, that's
COMM
no, condemnation
board.
board.
They get paid to be on that board.
Evidently,
That's come it's all different.
I don't know.
because their mileage is probably different.
You have to 206 where they drive them from.
Fully backed all the way.
And it would be.
I think that'd be
refunding
fun to
us
ask.
then.
Well, maybe what Brad's finding, we'll get it.
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I just see it's highlighted and it kind of pops out at you.
Yeah. Maybe it's, yeah, it's something.
And all amounts are different. I mean, within
Yeah.
$5.
Right, from 217 to 204.
Yeah, it just don't make sense. And that amount.
Mm.
I don't know.
But I think the civil deputy. Well, she called me once to be. Whenever there's a. Condemnation deal.
So what is that board do? What do they?
Okay, like in the past. The right of way, the DOT bought through Junction, some of that got disputed. Condemned
So they have to go and lift
and
them.
kind of put a value on it. It's a lot of these people are realtors, bankers,
That's to the sheriff's department.
yeah.
Hmm.
They'd called me once, there was like a 50 square foot parcel of ground out west and. On 92 that they wanted a farmer's. Input, but then it got settled before. You learn something every
Well, I
day,
guess, yeah.
even if you don't want
You said it was for $1,200.
1244.15 to be exact. I'm not saying there's anything.
Sandy said it's the commissary.
Well, that doesn't make any sense though. Can't be.
to. I couldn't see Randy Griffin, he was bars.
Because somebody's highlighted them and they added it up in the same amount, so it's these
It's
people.
big, those people, yeah, it's the.
I don't think Julie Rossiter and Sean Allworth and Dwayne Boyson are probably using the commissary,
No.
but you know, hey, what do I know?
Yeah, that's, I agree, that's the.
It's-
They're,
Combination board.
yep,
Yeah,
I guess I didn't realize they were a paid board, so. It's
I wonder if that gets passed on though.
well, it's gonna have to be out of the sheriff's budget, of course, and then
Mhm.
I don't know what department or how the check would be cut. Clearly, it would, each person would get their own, but I don't.
do you need me to look up those claims?
That's what I was looking at.
Are they in
I
this
couldn't find it.
claims?
Yeah, that's what.
I might be handing you.
Oh. I don't think it's on this.
No, it's in February.
Yeah. I couldn't find
That's
it there.
what's on there,
So that's just a report that was done. Checks were
Yeah.
cut a while
I'll
back.
check into those claims and let you guys know. To see how
Would
they're
you please?
paid.
yeah, so I just,
It's just
Cause I'm
curious.
wondering if that's usually it's for miles.
Yeah, but that's.
200 miles for Randy,
Yeah,
or for all of them, for that matter.
well, with 50 cents a mile, it'll be 400.
I think we're at 62 now. aren't we?
we're paying, isn't it 65.5?
Yeah, it's up forward.
Unless they went to like Des Moines and back or something for moving or down.
I think they'd all drive separate.
Well, you wouldn't think so. I don't know.
Hmm.
Randy probably had an old truck he wanted to go.
Probably coming through there with a truck on.
Went through Montana on his way.
How'd you get along out east so you can?
Oh, wow, that was quite a drive. I can tell you, the state of Illinois needs to stop stealing out of their coffers and actually put some money in the roads. That's bad. We had some stuff up on the dash of the truck and we hit a couple of those bumps on the interstate so hard. It knocked the stuff off the dash. And you went, oh, boy, that one hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping the truck was gonna make it, but yeah, blasted out to Maryland and
What'd you deliver?
69 Camaro convertible. They were pretty happy to see it. It was, I don't know, 78 degrees and we got back on Sunday and it was snowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to stay. But they're right on the marina. They live right on the marina and they're a mile down the marina to Chesapeake Bay.
Mhm.
So they were right. I mean, I wish we'd had a little time. I'd like to drop by Washington DC. It's just right there, but
Mhm.
time didn't permit. We had to get back. 14 hours out, 14 hours back. $1,000 in fuel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All 9 miles per gallon.
Mhm. Just don't do that for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Julie, Dwayne, Boyd.
I've never been on the East Coast, so
Me neither.
it's boy, the population really gets dense when you get past Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh, you can feel it. The roads even start getting narrower. I'm glad to be home.
That's why I always tell people there ain't nothing much
Yeah,
east of the Mississippi we're
Yeah.
seeing.
it's there's nice.
Why would you pick up?
We delivered one 69 Camaro. Yeah. Some quality time with my beautiful wife in the passenger seat.
He was your navigator that was on.
Well, yeah, we won't go down that. We're still married.
Okay,
That-
okay.
It's okay.
But we don't travel much, my wife's true.
Yeah.
And me, as navigators don't get along too
Yeah,
well.
no.
Heck, anymore, they make it so easy.
And
I
then-
know,
and then they did the GPS with a woman's voice, so then I got 2 of them in the truck. Nagging at me. No, it's fine.
That technology come a long way.
Yeah.
You remember when you used to go by maps?
Yeah, I still prefer it that way.
I still like that.
Because
one.
the GPS will take you in why are we going this way? I need to go.
I usually plan it out the route because it'll take you some
Yeah,
side road.
it's always in my brain where we're going.
We wanna go east and why are we heading north?
Yeah, I know.
You know,
Right,
You guys don't see the Sandman's report.
no,
no, we need to.
Getting even better.
it's not. It should be. I'm worried about that too, because that's skewing the numbers on what we need for the tax, so. I don't know what to do.
The cruel and cash, it's just. Why the show, man?
So routine calls, I'm assuming would be like from the care center,
I don't know how that could be called routine.
and then emergency would be heart attack, stroke, your legs cut off.
I think the routine would be transports maybe.
Well, the transfers are another line item to transfer.
So what would be routine? What's in the ambulance is routine?
I don't know. I would think if you're in an ambulance, all of it's kind of important, but
think so.
that's why I'm assuming it's it, and I'm gonna ask him at that meeting, and I'm assuming that's like. You know, somebody at the care center just feels ill and that's a routine.
Mm.
Sure, they got their lights on.
Yeah,
I go to the hospital, it's not routine.
no. Some people it is though,
I think I'm gonna die. That's
Yeah,
why I'm
right.
going to the hospital.
right?
Everybody's looked at the sheriff's report, right?
Yes.
Which we just acknowledge that we looked at it, and we've got a question on the.
Yes, and I'll, we can have that for you.
What?
For the condemnation board, I'll get those answers for you.
Okay. If you're looking at claims. There is a. This. I'm getting off schedule where I need to get. Okay. This deal from. The Cat 6A wiring for the,
Mhm.
or this is being bid out or,
IT, and that they give it, they have a contractor they use for running the conduit. That's putting drops in every office and, since it's IT, it's our IT person that went out and got the bids.
he went and got,
Yeah.
and this is his recommendation. Okay, that's.
Yeah.
Well,
We almost gotta get it updated. He said, and they're cleaning up all the wires. If you could walk out there and see all the years of wires being ran for internet,
oh, I,
which probably.
And
Forty down the
nobody
hallway.
takes anything out, they just keep adding.
Right.
I've been back in that wiring room. When they were landing a bunch of stuff and. The stuff the two bricks out of the ceiling and all the bird nest, yeah, I know what you're.
And this is all conduit, so then in the future, we're not take ceiling tile down, we just,
Is this at the courthouse?
this is at the sheriff's
Sheriff's
office.
office?
In the old,
Cause you know, technology is gonna change.
Yep.
I see it going completely wireless before long, we won't even need cables anymore.
Yeah,
But,
my whole house is that way, I mean,
yeah,
yeah, but on these computers, they'll probably still, as long as we have computers, they're getting away from a lot of that, but I think they'll have to have some type of input, I would think. Looking at my small future, within the next 10 years, anyway, it could change.
well, I mean. Look at that tower over there and we had a new computer in and the tower was about like a.
Like a
VCR.
yeah,
Well, I'll let you review this
Yeah, I seen it.
bid. And I'll let you look at the cost allocation. This cost allocation service,
Sean seen that.
yeah,
Wait.
we pay them $3,900. And they get us like 17,000 from DHS. Does that sound,
Mhm.
trying to explain to Sean that it's part of the game you play?
Hire somebody to do a application so you can get more money.
Yeah. It's been,
And yesterday on our base camp, through the auditors, there was a lot of discussion that, different counties go with different companies and some of them have gone with Cassie and their costs have gone up, but ours have not gone up
right,
and they are really good to work for, because I did all the, reports and stuff for them, and we do a lot of stuff. I just email it to them, so
But
they
it-
don't.
But it is going up this year.
Hmm,
It is going
they're
up
going up a little bit,
12.6%.
yeah.
So it was like 3,500 and now it's 39.50. Yeah,
there's like 3 or 4 companies do it. This company probably does a third or more of the state,
Mhm.
and they've done it for us as long as.
Yeah, very long time.
and so
Once while they come and sell themselves, the older fellow has retired now and the younger.
Yeah, Roger and. Warren is me.
So we pay him to do this paperwork and then the Department of Health and Human Services, we get a money back from them. Is that what you're saying?
Mhm. I'm not gonna say it's a racket, but.
You gotta play the game.
Yeah. Did you seen these
Government
estimates?
people making a job for themselves.
What the
Did I
cost-
say that out loud? Being recorded too. isn't it?
Yeah, well,
Well,
but Vicky's the only one on. Today,
no, that's how it works, I guess.
did you see that,
When it gets,
the estimate for
no,
the 54 computer drops about the,
there's that many computers in that place. Holy crap.
well, I just think you got. On the civil and the deputies,
I don't think there's that many actually operating, but there's places.
Yeah, for them.
but. You probably got 6 in conservation, you probably got,
Well, this is just sheriff's.
this isn't the whole building. Future expansion.
So do you need some action on number 14? A motion?
Yes.
We do.
I'll make a motion to approve the cost advisory services 3-year contract renewal.
And I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and. Is everybody comfortable with the claims, or you're gonna wait a while?
I didn't see anything that jumped out at me. I'm okay with the wiring thing too, if you wanna do that.
Do you wanna make,
Okay, I'll make a motion on the. For Lucas Communications to put 50 some drops out there at the sheriff's office and conduit and remove the other wiring.
You wanna put the amount in your motion?
Yep, but how much is it?
22
yeah,
something.
22,454.43.
Okay, that's my motion.
Second,
Okay, got a motion second, all in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay, that pretty much cleans up our business.
You wanna-
Claims.
You wanna do claims?
Yeah, sure. I'll make a motion to approve the claims for April 18th, 2023.
Second.
Okay, got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that pretty much. There were initials on this, we can pretty much listen to Adam talk now.
Oh, boy, that's not much of a reward.
Look forward to every week.
Reward for the hard work done there.
The only reason we come here.
All right, well, I'll try to put on a good, so. Well, one eyesore I think we've addressed, I'm not sure, fixed forever, is that pole off of the 5 Mile Lane. They're turning right. Work with DOT, it's under our jurisdiction, but we kind of had Casey out with the backhoe and we dug out and we drained it off in the ditch there, and the DOT had some asphalt milling, so they dumped it in there. And,
Looks a lot better.
you run over it, it gets harder, it should be a little bit better than gravel.
I haven't heard any data voice, but
It's for spending almost no money and effort, I think it's better, so, that's good there. Crews are out patching holes now, we've got, concrete potholes that show up every year, some of them are redo, but you have 150 miles of pavement. At least, and things are gonna pop up every year. A couple of years ago, we did switch over to doing things a little bit different. We got that real old air compressor machine, and we run that now and blow out the holes, and hopefully that asphalt patch will stick in there better versus if it was dirt or water. We have offered it to neighboring communities as well if they would ever want to borrow it after we're done. So working on that. We got 5 or 6 guys out there doing that now. We have a guy out in front and back with a truck and flashing lights, hopefully make it safer. So doing that with crews here this week, still getting some rock hauled, getting some blading done after it rains and all that. It's kind of nice out driving around now. You got every pheasant and deer and everything out on the road. So lots of wildlife out there right now. So engineering construction wise, getting reform work up on the bridge up at Cotter. I'm guessing they probably won't pour it till the end of the month or something like that. They're like everybody else, they got more jobs than guys. Our second tech, Dustin, I've got him down and he's down helping Des Moines County today on a paving job. He hadn't been on a full depth concrete paving job, and we figured it's a good opportunity to get some training and help them out. I think their engineers out at the national conference and another guy's off or something like that, so they're a little short-handed. So we'll help them out a little bit and get our guys some extra training. So other than that, working on some engineering plans and things like that, but nothing super hot right now. I do, Brad, if you recall, meeting with an environmental consultant on the landfill today. It's 2 o'clock, I believe.
yeah, I won't be able to make it because I have a meeting in Burlington at 1:15.
Okay. Well, yeah. Landfill meeting there, so. So other than that, looking ahead, it looks like Mississippi's probably gonna be up here next few weeks to month, and there's always potential for seepage up on the island up there, and hopefully our ditching work and pipe work will help out on that. So other than that, I don't know, not a lot else going on other than doing some bridge inspections and driving around and looking at things like that. But any questions or comments for me?
We used up our rock budget pretty well.
No. You So, the way we do it now is, right, we allocate 74,000 tons of rock, and then we have 1,000 in reserve, and in each district, it's a certain tonnage. By, by miles in traffic, and it's kind of the historical numbers. And so I say, I want you to get as close to your budget, I don't necessarily say put it on this road or that road, because those guys know, I mean, they drive it. Occasionally I'll go out there, hey, you haven't hit this one, but, so they got a bunch of it done. I know Logan's district up there, Les area is done, he's not to haul anymore, and we're catching up the rest of them, so. But yeah, I don't know, I think we got 10 to 15,000 tons hauled in a month, which is a lot, but again, it was cheaper. So,
Do you ever put a pencil what that saved the county?
well, if it's 10,000 tons more than we would have hauled, we saved $17,000. I mean,
So there's the whole point of doing it.
yeah. So that I kind of talked to him, we're putting 74,000 tons down. We might pare that back to 72 or something next year, and kind of see how that goes, to try to save a little bit, I have some in it. I have some in my pocket, I can use if we want to do a specific project, because I don't want to burn it up on that, but we have a little extra in case we need it, so. Other than that, I didn't know a lot.
No, we still have a pile at Nelson's, our own.
Yeah,
I don't know how many tons.
We saw like 8,000 tons there, which Dusty had hauled a bunch of his before that before that was made. So that's already been paid for, but we haven't spread it. But starting in June, next year, his allotment of 10,000 tons, most of it is going to come out of there.
Mhm.
So, but he's one who's about done with his allotment until June. But once June, we're going to back up and they can get hauling again.
Okay,
But we're also doing culverts and all that
right,
kind of
you got
thing,
other
yeah.
than just roads.
Plus it's June and everybody's on vacation and all that too. We are going to tens, starting the first Monday of March. I think it's the second or something like that. Is
May, you mean?
I'm sorry, May. So yeah, I don't know if you know, Sean, but we go to, well, not we, but our crew, our union guys, all go to tens from the first Monday in March, May, sorry. First Monday in May until the second Monday in September.
410s.
Yeah,
Do
so.
you stagger any of them, so you got some on Fridays? No?
No, I'm there on Fridays, Justin and Mike and Joel and I are there on Fridays. Back when I first started, the engineer worked tens, and we started like in March or something and went into October, which was completely ridiculous. I picked a fight back then with them, because they, it'd be the deal where they'd be gone in April and it'd rain on Wednesdays and we couldn't blade, and then the roads would be there until Monday and all that. In the contract, I had the ability to set those hours, so I changed it from May until September, because usually by May, we're kind of out of the rain and the snow and all the flooding and all that. So, and then by September, it's getting dark at, if the sun doesn't come up till 6:30, you guys will not need to be at work at 6 o'clock. And a lot of the older guys who have moved on were not happy with that, but the younger guys are just happy to have those hours now, so it's cool. So
Yeah.
So, but we do the engineering staff does work 5/10s because we have construction at that time, and we don't want to leave. Go on at the office is being the only one. There are things that happen, and if a tree's on a road, I can run out and do it, or we can call somebody in or whatever. So, but anyway.
You got a few blade operators that still do the 5.
Yeah, you know, the guy in Oakville, he stays on 8s until summer, until his kids are out of school. And then he jumps to 10s because he's gotta get his kids up to school and all that. And then we got a couple, we have Eagle who works all summer on 8s. So things will work out okay now, so.
Did you ever get a 92 update?
992 update, not really an update so much as, I'm getting some complaints from some preemptive complaints, for some people up there on G36, complaining about the 2 hour, not the 2 hours, the 2 years window, and I get those via phone calls. I like, the best thing you do is write me a letter or an email and I'll forward it to the DOT so that they know. Got a call yesterday from a local fire chief up in Columbus Junction area about, you know, access and complaining about that. And I said, you know, that's something that you can probably just pass on to the DOT about, because, you know, there's utility work there going on now and it's causing some issues, and you know, there's nothing I can do about it. But I said, this is the guy to call and all that. So, you know, I mean, there's concerns about streets and just, you know, the amount of traffic we're getting. And according to this guy at Conjunction, they've got a water main break every other day or every other week. So, you know, it's, I don't know. So I've told them I don't have jurisdiction there, so I can't do too much. I just can point you in the I don't know. So, we've got that agreement with the DOT up in the detour that they want me to sign, but I'm not gonna do it yet. I guess once they have a bid date letting and all those kind of things, and then with nothing really we can do about it, but we can kind of just wait.
It don't sound like it's gonna hit this year where they're talking. I mean,
My understanding was they were gonna try to let it this spring-ish and have a late start date of next spring,
yeah,
which I know the DOT is doing that because the, you know, contractor availability is not great. And giving them a bigger window will, you know, helps to increase competition, it decreases the contractors, you know, risk, I guess, so. So that's what they're doing.
so it's gonna be pushed back. It sounds like.
Yeah. So, you know, that's kind of what we did on 160th project. You know, they don't have to start that thing until June, so. And we got 8 bidders and the price was well under what I expected, so maybe it worked out. I'm a little worried on the concrete one. We may be doing the other thing, you know, that we're betting it now and we gotta get it done by September, October. But I guess we can see that, so. Anyway, if anybody has any questions or anything, let me know. You know, we're always getting requests for signs and things like that, or well, whatever, so. All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for the update.
Well, I've entertained you for like 12 minutes, so.
You did good job.
Thanks.
See ya.
See ya.
Morning, come on in. How are you? Just peachy. How about you guys? Good. Living the dream. How's that? Every day, right? We got that letter last week, and you were not well aware of. Yeah. It was a temporary deal, right? We helped them out.
And the thing of it is, when she approached me about it, we did our part.
and she didn't do her part to get the agreement done on her end. So it never really happened, so no fault, no foul.
Okay. Warm up again.
But since that came up, we do have a 2080, but must be changed, so we're covered. Good morning, everybody. Current workload remained the same at 27 claims, those fluctuate throughout the month. We were below that, and we crept up above that, but as claims were adjudicated, we're at the current numbers that we are now. Our monthly compensation and pension for our veterans and their qualifying spouses is still over 240. As a matter of fact, it's approaching the quarter mil as we speak. Budget's in good shape at 70%. CDSO replacement, as I previously stated, our ad will start later this month and continue through May. My commission and I will do interviews in June, and we'll make a selection on our commission meeting on June 15th. The new CDSO will start on Thursday, July 6th. That's what we're planning for right now. So that, I think that's a Thursday, so that following Monday on the 10th, we'll start our training and turn over in earnest. The accreditation course for NACPSO has been established and scheduled for August 21 through 26. So whoever we select to take my place, I will immediately get them signed up for that course. And it will be conducted through virtual training. Outreach, since our last meeting, I've had 144 contacts. I've done 6 home visits, 21 office visits, 1 hospital visit, and 1 nursing home visit. Talking about nursing homes, currently we have 30, so we're up 1 from last month. CJ has 13, Waco 11, Morning Sun has 6. Our planning for outreach for the next fiscal year continues to evolve. And Sean, whenever you have any information on those car shows, please just give me a jingle or send me an email. I just completed the restock outreach items for this next fiscal year, so when my replacement comes in, he or she won't have to worry about doing any procurement. It will be set there to go for him or her. Third quarter assistance remains the same as the last report. The total is 2136.64. We had 6 for utilities, 2 for rent, 1 for food. And then I will brief on the following quarter next month. Then update, the current mileage is 68,000, still in good working order. Again, for Jim, if you would put this, and I think you've been doing really good about that, for the veterans who need a ride, coordinate with me at the following number, 319-527-6513. Attended spring course last week. It was more oriented towards the new CDSOs that have come on board this year. There was over a dozen of them, so there's quite a bit of turnover. One of the things that I got out of that conference, besides the usual training, was Iowa House File 163, which is for veterans property tax. And I may have mentioned this in our last briefing, that Iowa is trying to get an increase on that, which hasn't happened since World War II. And the way that they're doing that, or the way that they're proposing that, is by your disability rating. So if you're at, well, everybody knows if you're at 100%, your tax, I believe, is 100%. So in this example, I think it's at 70% is the next line. Then below that is 40%. Below that is 10%, and below that will be the standard 1,800 per veteran. And it's rated on the percentage rate based on the rating is multiplied by your percentage rate. So if you're at 60%, that would be times your property tax exempt. So in other words, it boils down to an increase for veterans. So hopefully we'll get that passed and give our veterans a break that they need for property taxes. Our next commission meeting is scheduled this Thursday, April 20th, 10 a.m. and you're always welcome to attend. I think I beat Adam's time by a few minutes.
We can drag it out a little bit if you like.
Well, I'll open this at this time, open it up for questions, so. Fire away.
No, everything was great.
Do you have anybody in mind that's put in for that?
My commission does, I've been briefed, and yes.
Good.
So I have full confidence that we'll have
replacement for me, and that hopefully, Andy brought the bar here, I brought the bar here, hopefully the next person will bring the bar up here, so.
Excellent. Glad to see there's always interest. That's what I was asking.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good morning, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, there seems to be a dwindling interest in a lot of things. If it's not computer related. Do you want her to have that? I guess you can have that back. That's the annual report. How many copies for my?
Your board.
Yeah.
Got Katie coming on here and we're pretty much done with all of our business. Jim, did you want to know what the amount of claims are?
Roughly half of it.
No, it was 90%.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can we put on the agenda next time to reserve the fairground or the courthouse lawn this summer for the car show? It will be on a calendar. I got a calendar from 1976.
Well,
It'll be July.
it's usually right in the middle of July.
Is it James?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Just so it's down and out of the way and I don't have to.
Are you guys doing bathrooms again or?
Yeah. July 15th.
So the courthouse will not have to be open.
No, they'll have their own porta potties.
Okay.
Well, we could say no to you, but make you send Raymond over to ask.
Yes, we could. Yeah,
Raymond used to always come.
yeah,
in.
I could do that.
Tell him we missed him, sort of.
All right. I'll make him attend anyways.
Right.
The board of supervisors have ever said no, but I
No,
want to make sure it's official and
the car club is going to do an excellent.
try to clean up after we're done and. It's a great place. I'll tell you, a lot of people sure like that show just because of the shade. That's the biggest comment that they get.
Sean, does your mom still do the master gardening?
She's doing all the pots uptown and
How do you get a hold of, does she have a landline?
much like that. 319 527 3711.
Thank you.
She's out of my place probably right now, putting flowers in the ground. Say, Mom, it's gonna snow.
Yeah, I got it read.
Well, I'll just
That
get them out.
keeps her
Put ones in
young.
there.
He's out there when it's hot.
Oh, she loves it. She needs to slow down a little bit because especially when it's in July, she doesn't need to be doing that.
Or you need to rig her up a golf cart with a watering.
We got, yeah.
Yeah,
we
maybe
got
she
that, yeah.
But she needs air conditioning.
Yeah. Dad's official chauffeur, and he's got to drive her around. That's their life. That's fine. It scratches off lottery tickets while she's watering flowers. That's their life. I can only hope I can be there someday.
At their health.
Yeah, right.
Well, your dad used to be a very avid hunter and fisherman, but
Him and
he,
his brothers.
yeah, oh, yeah.
Once his brothers are gone,
Did the
Then he
code
kind of,
stuff
that's what I kind of,
report get reviewed?
he just kind of, lost interest, and I understand that. Yeah, we all went every morning, Lake Odessa. It was quite the deal. Wouldn't trade those experiences for the world.
Well, just,
It's just being with them guys, you know.
well, things happen with hunting that make for good stories
Oh, boy.
and memories.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Times.
Waffles proms this weekend.
Yes, it is.
And the year going by fast.
And then I think the play is the next weekend.
Yeah,
I'm excited to watch that one. They're doing the same play they did when I was a senior.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. They voted to build another wrestling ring.
That's what I hear.
That's what I hear. And what does the old gym get used for other than a play or and stuff like that?
The band concerts and stuff.
Yeah, but couldn't we put a mat in that old gym and got by and see if this girls wrestling thing's gonna take off or? Does common sense not prevail anymore?
I'm not on that. Yeah. Everybody likes, you know.
Oh, yeah, but the Fortnite. I'm gonna stick it out the devil.
Morning.
Hello,
Morning, we're ready whenever you are.
okay. So one of the biggest things we have going on right now is we're rebidding farm ground. And so I don't know if anybody wants a copy to look at what we've got going on or not, but we're gonna be accepting bids. There's been a few questions about it because we've changed things a little bit. We're asking them to plant some food plot for us in the same area, like on adjacent fields this year, and to put a cover crop in and so I think we've got a lot of interest from the number of phone calls and questions that I've been having. One thing that a lot of people have been asking me is the yield, bushels per acre, and I don't know that I can give that. Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask you about it, Chris. 'Cause
Well,
like FSA doesn't have it or anything, so we have to.
CSR is the guideline.
So how does the CSR get onto the Beacon website? Who determines that?
I would say that's determined by Iowa State
Okay, okay,
a few years
like
ago.
extension or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not for sure how it gets there either. But
Yeah.
it's probably always an extension.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
FSA office didn't know either,
it's
because
all
that's what I've
through
been giving people, because it's all I have, so.
Yeah. Some people use a formula off the CSR to determine if it's worth $150 an acre versus 200 on how good a
Sure.
ground it is.
Yeah,
Some, you hear formulas on what ground's being bought for now off of CSR, you know.
mhm,
It was 100 and something a point, now it's over $200 a point,
yeah, yes.
because the real estate's gotten.
Jumped, yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's happening and it was wrong in the paper. So I've been trying to let people know that because we're taking bids. Our meeting is Monday, May 8th now, so the bids are due May 8th and we're looking at them on May 8th. So I don't know if that needs to go back in, Jim, or not, but there was a lot of chaos at that meeting on dates and times and whatever, so.
They're bidding to rent the ground a year from now.
Starting into the 2024 growing season, yes. So that we can let the current landowners know by September if they're gonna have it or not.
Okay, good.
Yes. Is that right?
There you got it right. Yeah.
Okay.
Up to bid every year or every?
3 years, so it'll be a 3-year contract, yep. So
This is the first time it's been rebid for quite a while.
10 years, I think.
Yeah.
I think because it's come up other years and then we realize by the time we start talking about it, because the contract it goes through February. So by the time you get to February and you want to talk about it, it's already too late
Can I look
to
at
do
it?
anything. Yeah,
I see you have pictures on there, so it gets.
yeah, I just printed one for you guys, so if you want one? Did you want one, Jim? Okay. Brad, I'll get you one, or you can take Selena's.
I'll get that.
Okay. Yeah, it's online and everything too, so there's a sample agreement and everything, so that's kind of the big thing for right now. We're still working on getting our playground finished. We, I think I told you at the last meeting, we got a grant for 20,000 to put a drinking fountain out at Eden Park from Delta Dental, and so we're working on that kind of in conjunction with finishing the playground. Hopefully they'll be getting there in the next week. I keep saying that, but I just keep calling and pushing everybody.
Weather's been weird.
Yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, so all that stuff, I mean, it's just been busy. We've got our summer staff all hired, and so we've got several that'll be starting on May 15th, and then we've got more that'll be starting in June, so we've got all those coming up and kind of working through. Getting prepared for all of that stuff. Our handicap hunting blind, we went and took a peek at it this morning, and it is getting very close. The guys had to run to Menards today to grab a few supplies that they need, and hopefully that'll be done within the next week or two also, and that's going to Chinkopin Bluffs. So by one of the food plots and farm fields that we have, so I think that'll be a good spot. Let's see, what else?
Did REC ever come out to Eden Park yet or do anything? They got that done.
I don't know if they're done. He's on my list to call today. We ended up scheduling a meeting and just asked everybody to come at the same time. Hackett was there, the REC guy was there, and Brockhouse was there. And so we kind of hashed it all out. Yeah, I'm planning on going there before Tri Rivers today also, since I'll be in the neighborhood. And check that out. So I think, I know he was turning in the one call that day over there, which would have been last Thursday, was it? So it should be getting moving on it.
They probably already have it done.
I'm sure they do, yeah. Yeah. And so the naturals are busy. Of course, it's just Lana right now, so she's kind of swamped. She's got a lot of different volunteers trying to help her through all the field trips and stuff, because our new naturals can't start until she graduates in May. So Sarah Martinez will be starting on May 15th. But through then, we've all been kind of pitching in and helping out as needed. The guys are swamped too. They've been getting the water on. I think Brian T was running some water tests for us this week, and maybe a couple more next week, and hopefully we'll have that going. The campers are anxious and excited. We already had a little handful of them at Snively and some at Virginia Grove this past weekend, so everything is happening fast. We got the Navius addition to Virginia Grove burned, and so we went out yesterday morning and spent, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours trying to see if we could find or locate the Jarvis Cemetery. The DOT staff is really swamped this last week and this week, so they haven't been down yet, but we're kind of still hoping they'll be able to come. It's gonna be hard. Everything out there is just, you know, nothing's level. It's all a lot of topography and everything, and we searched the fence rows to see if we could find any sort of a tombstone or anything. We searched all over up on top, just kind of gritting back and forth, and so we're still hoping to find that cemetery. So we know anybody that's an expert.
You talked to Raymond Fisher.
Yeah, should ask Raymond.
He's pretty good about knowing where some of that stuff is kind of.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I don't know, I can't remember if I asked him before. It's not like on the Iowa Gen website or anything like that. Like, it's not more, it's listed that it's on that property, but not where. And so far, I tried to ask some of the other people with a little seniority, if they remembered or anything had ever been out in the area. And so,
Might ask.
yeah, I'll ask
He's
him because
good
he
at
might
that-
know somebody
that
too.
Historical
Yeah,
paperwork and.
Every old farmer in the neighborhood. You know, the Ralph Maviuses or the AJ Boysons.
yeah, I talked to AJ
And
about it, and he didn't remember.
Lee Harris doesn't remember none of them.
I don't know if I asked him. Did you ask him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sharon Murray would be the only one left I would know of.
Oh, Sharon might know.
He knew a lot about that area.
Okay.
Markers could have been wood at one time and now they're gone.
Mhm.
Who knows?
What was the cemetery called, you said?
Jarvis, yeah, it's just one family essentially, yeah.
Stones.
I want to say 5 people buried there, something like that, so. And yeah, the rumor on the street is there was a stone at one point that got moved when they bulldozed all the trees to turn it into a crop field. But we even went back and looked at some of the old maps and stuff to try to see if we could see a spot that had been avoided or anything like that. And so, and I know I talked to Katie way back when the first time, but I might stop back in and see if she can find anything again, because my memory's foggy on what all she looked at and if there's any more she can find or anything, so. So that's another thing we've been working on. Yeah, just busy. Questions? All right.
Okay.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Yep.
Hello.
Once they move them stones, it's harder to find.
Yeah.
Not how to do it.
No, we get down to one, there's more grave sites with family than around here than you realize and you know. Back in the day, that's what you did. You went out back to the farmhouse and you buried.
Everything's gonna sell it. Yep.
You weren't dragging them halfway across the county. You were.
Can you see if Cindy's available to?
And we got Bobby though too.
People been dying for 1,000
Yeah,
years.
right.
You hate to disrespect
Yeah,
the
right.
dead,
But
but
you just release, don't know.
Yeah.
You've got your G. I think so.
Don't know, you don't know.
Yeah, thank you.
You wanna go back a little farther, you get into the Indians.
Mhm.
They're buried all over the place.
So
Well,
first,
this is quite the deal, huh?
yeah, so first I'll just give you an update, real quick, my regular update. So the mobile food pantry is Wednesday, April 26th, still serving quite a few, anywhere between 150 and 175 packages are what we get to hand out to households here in the county. Food pantry here in town served in March 20 households, that was 58 individuals. And let's see what else. Foot and phone traffic, 40 phone, 14 foot in March. We had one rental eviction that we had to deny for failure to sign up for work, actively seek work. And we had one burial assistance that was approved in March. So moving on, the big thing, well, there's a couple other things that Iowa Hunger Coalition, they are working in the legislature right now for supplemental nutrition assistance program known as SNAP, or food stamps is what people typically call it. There's a press conference today at the Iowa State Capitol with Governor Reynolds because they're wanting to lower the SNAP benefits. And so that'll kick a lot of people off and lower benefits for some that have them. And that could be a real big issue for local food pantries and that sort of thing. So that's something we're kind of watching and to see what happens. Then I will move on. So I emailed y'all because we had an application come in for a burial, cremation, funeral assistance. We've always given the option as far as they can have burial or they can have cremation. This one came in and the person was approved. Sent it to the funeral home, let them know, you know, just like we always do. Well, then the issue is the funeral home is not wanting to do any burials anymore. And I don't think that's been a problem for the past several because the family has chosen cremation, so it hasn't come up. I was disappointed when I spoke to Eric at the funeral home. I let him know that I was frustrated that he didn't come back to us and let us know that he's only doing cremation. So we're telling the family one thing, they're telling the family something else. So when I spoke to him, I well, I was speaking to the family and, she said, well, Dad really wanted a burial. And I said, well, you get your choice. But the funeral home has to agree to accept $1,500 through general assistance for county funding. And, he said, well, we already have a plot, for the family. They already own that. And so, when I spoke to the funeral home and he said he would only do cremation, then I said, well, now we're in a pickle because, we told the family and, so he, said he started running down his costs. He said that he has been invited to Board of Supervisor meetings throughout, Schneider Hamwall owns pretty much all of our funeral homes around here. And he had been invited to other Board of Supervisor meetings, but he's not been invited to a Louisa County one. And I said, well, they have a meeting every Tuesday. You're more than welcome to get on the agenda at any time. And so he started rambling down his costs. So I scribbled those down. And for a burial, the very bare minimum that he could do it for is $2,165. And so he said, I could do a one-time only for this one, if that's what the county chooses to pay. $2,165, which is above and beyond the $1,500 that we've done it for in the past. I understand costs have increased. I totally understand that. I just wish he would have come to us prior, so we wouldn't be in this situation. He said in the future, if the county did determine to go with burials or cremation, burials, he would have to have $2,500. And cremations, he said his cost is right around $1,000. So I went through and I contacted several of our local counties. Most of them do only cremation is what's offered.
Is this just through GA?
GA, this is only general assistance. Yeah.
What if somebody has a religious?
So that's a question that I threw to Eric at the funeral home, and he said that should only be Jewish. And I said, or anybody that has a belief that, they should not be cremated. And I said, I'm not going to go into detail about what a family believes. And so that's what I threw to him. He just kept throwing back the cost. And so, typically when I called around to the other counties around here, they are doing around $1,000. Everybody kind of varied. One was $900, one was $1,000, one was $2,000. And some were cremation only. Washington County does burial or cremation, but she said they rarely have approvals for clients that come in and apply. Let's see. Muscatine County, they were doing 1,800, and when Eric went to their board meeting, they chose to go down to $1,000 and do cremation only. So we're in this situation where I have an application that's been sitting on my desk for far too long for a funeral application. And the body is being held and the family is waiting for notification, and Eric is waiting for a notice of decision as to whether we're going to approve or deny, and what we're approving or denying at what cost. And so I bring this to you guys. So if you have any questions, I've tried to do tons of research, so I'll try to answer any questions that you have. But I just need to know how to proceed with this application.
How many do we get a year like this?
So we are over budget. We just had one, well, I take that back. We just had one approved in March. And so that puts us at 900. Way too many papers here in the files. $964.25 is left in the funeral services line. So if this one is approved at $1,500, that puts us in the negative. If it's approved at $2,165, obviously it's even further negative.
How many?
So we schedule for 4 a year. So this will take us over. Sometimes we have 2 a year, sometimes we have 8 a year. We just don't know. I mean, it's very random. I can pull those. I didn't bring that paper in here, but I keep track of that year after year, how many we've had.
Didn't 2020, we had a family of 3.
Yeah, that affected 3 different people within the same family. Yeah.
To me, I think we need to be, whatever number we come up to is what we do, and anything above that. Services, I think it has to be, I think we have to set a precedence that, because in that case, they would always take the
better of the
better of the two. And I think to be fair with everybody, I think we need to offer the same amount, and then the family would be subject to above that.
So what we have, the way our guidelines read is, $1,500 has to be what the funeral home accepts as payment in full. And, if the family has any money to put towards that, say the person passes away and they have a savings account of $500, that $500 would be going towards that funeral. And so we would only pay $1,000. So they can't have a memorial fund, a GoFundMe, fund, anything like that. If they have assets that take them above and beyond, then that also comes off of that. If it's above the $1,500, the county denies.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to set a maximum amount. I mean, I think we're gonna have to, or it's gonna get really, well, why'd they get 2,100 and we only got
Correct, yeah.
1,500? I think you need to do that just to be fair, and I think it's,
we're not refusing to bury
Right.
it, we're just trying to put a limit on it.
Right, in this situation, I feel like the funeral home has no other choice than to accept $1,500, because this is the way our guidelines have been written all along, and they know that.
They
We work
wanted
with
to
them.
change, they should have said something.
Right, they should have come to me and said, hey,
Yeah.
you know, they came to me a couple of years ago and I mentioned it to you guys and you chose to keep it $1,500 burial cremation. And that's what I told them. I said, if you felt this way, you should have come to
Yeah,
us
right.
prior to, an actual client being on the table. This is not.
When they changed their rate, instead of waiting for us
Yeah.
to invite them to the meeting, they should have wrote us on
Yeah.
uniform and important
Exactly.
letter. I'm
Right.
disappointed.
Was there another trash people's rates go up? They send paperwork.
Yeah.
another county.
So Louisa County has 3 funeral homes. They're all Schneider and Hollenbach. There is some others in Muscatine County, but that would be telling the family, hey, you'll have to transfer, and that doesn't seem right either, because if they live in Wapello, they're.
That might be the answer on this situation,
Yeah.
is see if other counties would do it for less.
Okay,
You know,
and I have not contacted other funeral homes just because.
That's where I'm- we might have to do it on this case, and then moving forward that way at least, because I know there's got to be a cost of keeping it in the.
So there will be an additional cost though, because the body's being held, and not
So
have a
every day we do it, the cost is becoming more. So I would look at that part and then maybe get back to us by email, because I don't want to wait till another week.
Right.
Um,
So you think check in with another funeral home to see what they would do it.
since the other counties are around our same amount, they do both.
Mhm.
That's what I would like to.
Well,
see.
only Washington County does both. The other counties are all doing
Maybe check with
cremation only.
Washington County and see if that person would do that.
I think we need a plan B too, in case that doesn't work out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because it will, I mean, the cost is gonna go up to transfer the body.
Yeah, but
So-
were we paying a daily?
Well, we're not paying, I mean, the funeral home is paying, and that's why I said, well, what if we deny, the notice of decision denies? Then the funeral home has to eat the entire cost, so I don't understand why
Why they're paying the hardball.
yeah. I think they're just wanting to get more money out of it, and they think that this is the way to do it, I don't know. I mentioned to Eric, I said, you're more than welcome to come, I'm gonna go to the Board of Supervisors on Tuesday, you're more than welcome to come, and.
Only other thing we could do is maybe refer it to Adam
Okay,
and look at it that way, because it's a private business, it's not like it's a.
it is,
Yeah.
and he can deny it, but I just don't know, okay, so,
Because if we deny it, that means they're not gonna do it,
right, I mean, they'll just have to.
so that.
I assume at that point, they're gonna cremate because it's cheaper on their end to cremate, but they still have to eat that cost, so. I don't know,
This might be an Adam question, because it's over mine,
okay,
I don't know what to do on that. But I think we have to stay consistent, and then in the future on the next one, so if they would like to have a $2,500 funeral, which is good. They just have to come up with $1,000.
the family would,
I don't know
So-
what else to be fair, because the costs are gonna continue to go up, I just.
right, And so we'd have to watch our guidelines. So that's my other thing that I'm bringing before you are the guidelines for general assistance. They haven't been updated since 1992. And so
We need that.
they need to be updated. And so I didn't know how you want me to do that. If you want me to go ahead and get them updated and bring them to you. So what I've given you are the Iowa Code Chapter 252 that deals with general assistance and definition of a poor person and that sort of thing. I also gave you the current general assistance guidelines. The income information I wanted to bring before you because we're currently using the FIP guidelines that also have not changed since 1992. And so we do 150% of the FIP guidelines. And then on the opposite side of that page, you'll see the federal poverty level guidelines. And so several of the counties, there are Henry and Lee County use the FIP guidelines also, but then several of the other counties are using federal poverty level guidelines. And so I presented those to you just so you can see the difference. Obviously, the federal guidelines change annually. And so we would be more consistent with.
That's the one to be with, I think.
I think so also. And on that chart, you'll see different percentages. And so you could choose, you know, a lower percent or 100%, whatever you would want to choose for that. Then I also gave you the general assistance application, and on the last page of that application, you'll see the FIP guidelines for a household of one, a household of two. So a household of one can't make more than, I believe it's $374 a month. So basically, and that makes sense to a point because general assistance is here for the poor and the needy. So basically those that have nothing, that are in between jobs and you know, they have absolutely no income at this time, things like that. And so we have to remember why general assistance is here, but also I feel like we need to make sure we're updating our information annually and not.
Yeah, that's bad on us.
Yeah,
Do we have a contract with them?
there's no contract. Not that I know of. I've never been told of a contract between the funeral home.
So it's just a gentleman's agreement on the 1,500, is that what it was?
Sounds like it.
I would have to ask, honestly, I've never been asked that and I don't know.
Because I don't know how we ever came up with that number back in the 90s. I don't know how that ever came out. Because I know even if you have a plan, like my parents had cremation plans, and when my mom passed, there wasn't enough. They raised their prices. So even though it was paid for,
Yeah,
they wouldn't do it for what they said they was gonna do.
Maybe
So
it needs to be a contract.
it has to
In
be a
this
contract.
that way, if
Maybe a 3-year contract where we have something that we can
and
go
they
back
can
and,
change it,
right.
they'll have to come in here and change it if they
Yeah.
want that request.
But I think Adam needs to be
Yeah,
involved in this part, see what our
And this
rules
is
are.
a- this is clearly a exception. I mean, this isn't, that happen every day, but. Yeah, if there's an agreement like that, we need to have some kind of. a
Maybe have him look into it and see.
okay. So,
And instead
so
of,
what am I having Adam look into exactly, like the
This-
assistance guidelines?
this agreement with the funeral home and what they used to do it for, and what they did it now, without us knowledgeable
Right.
being about having it done, can we? Anything that we can do legally?
To go ahead and push this one through and get
Yes.
this one done. And then, yeah, and I'll check with about a contract. I don't know of anything. And I'll also call around the other funeral homes, Muscatine and Washington County that are not Snyder Holland and see.
Yeah, see if they
what
would
they
do it
do.
on this case.
Yeah, typically, what I've always known they've done is they accept general assistance rules. And so I was just,
See, that's where I don't know about the law, if that's something we can push, that's where Adam would come into play.
okay, yep, I will check with them.
Have you talked to Whitney?
I have not talked to Whitney. Eric and Whitney are both the owners and Eric was the one they passed me along to, so. Yeah, so, different personalities completely, but yeah, I could do that too, but I just don't wanna, I mean, they both own the funeral, home, so.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know the answer on this one.
Well, if you put that, if that person has to go to a different funeral home, will that be a hardship for the family to?
Well, under general assistance guidelines, there's not much in the way of services. So Schneider Hollenbaugh has always given them 1 hour of a visitation if they choose that. But then there's nothing beyond that, and so it's. As
But would that be a hardship for that family to get?
I
to go
don't
out of
think so,
town?
because it's a son and a daughter that are working for the family, and neither one of them live local.
Okay,
They're out of state, and so I don't think they would choose a visitation. According to the daughter, it sounded like she would not. There's a little bit of discrepancy between the son and the daughter, and what, like, the son's just like whatever, and the daughter's like, the dad wanted, so.
yeah,
And so I'm just following guidelines that, I mean, that's
Mhm.
all I'm trying to do, so.
Yeah, it's a hard place.
Okay, so I will do that, and then how do you want me to proceed with the guidelines and updating them? Do you want me to go ahead and update them, spit them off to Adam and see what he thinks, and then bring them to you at that point?
Sounds great.
Well, I think if the county is gonna be involved, it'd be the bare minimum of burial. And then if they want anything above that, then they would have
We
to,
just gotta be consistent.
right,
And I would, the federal poverty levels where I would go to, because that is updated.
Okay,
And you said the other one hasn't been updated since 92.
yeah, 1992.
Things has
Yeah.
kind of changed, I think, since 92.
we just wanna make sure that this particular situation gets resolved quickly, we don't.
Yeah,
We
this
don't
one I would like to get
prepare
resolved
for
today
a long-
because the death was April 1st. It's been way.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry for putting you in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm here for, so I
Yeah,
just
it's-
had no, I mean, I didn't receive the application until the 10th, and so everything has just been so slow moving, and you guys meet on Tuesdays, and so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, if call whatever in
Okay.
between, so we don't have to wait a week.
So you can make a decision without,
Yeah, we just get, we'll Selena and she can get a hold of everybody and then maybe we can.
okay, I'll
Just get
definitely
her-
get in there and start making calls.
so review and action for general assistance burial, do we need a,
So that's put on hold until I
Table
contact
that.
that.
okay.
wow,
I'm hoping you can find Washington a place to do it, meets our guidelines.
Yeah, I'll see what they say. I'll definitely call around. So a few questions before I go ahead and update the guidelines I had, were, let's see. So you answered my income guideline information. I did change things that said his, her, he, she to they, or, just took all of those pronouns out just in case. We are a last resort office, so the clients have to exhaust all the funding options that are available throughout the county. And so my question for you would be, if a utility bill is $1,000, are you okay if somewhere in the guidelines it states that we can complete or prevent a disconnection? So say community action can pay $800, if $200 is still needed. How would you want to proceed? Do you want no additional funding to be given? The family has to come up with that. Do you want us to be able to pack on? It's kind of like what I mentioned about funeral homes. Usually if somebody else is already paying on it, then we're not paying on it through the county. And so just curious as to what your thoughts are with. Like we're trying to prevent disconnections and eviction notices, but things have obviously went up.
Doesn't the utility have a date from such and such date to this date? There's no disconnect, and there's also systems to the utility bill. At this point,
Moratorium?
I think there's a date they cannot disconnect.
Yes, there is a moratorium, and so that's October through April. It's been lifted April 1st, and so now anybody can be disconnected at this point.
Right.
Energy assistance is still available for anybody that has not applied yet, and that goes through April 30th. Energy assistance, if somebody's applied in November and they received it, then, maybe they didn't pay their January bill or their February bill, then they're coming to us in April and getting disconnected. And some of those are pretty high and we really can't do anything about those.
That's my worry, is if they don't get a hold of you till after 4 or 5 months, because it was in a, where they could not be disconnected,
Right,
period, and this comes up and then they're looking at $2,500 or $3,000.
yeah. And we
That's where it
definitely
gets
can't
out
go
of
that
hand.
high. Yeah,
Right.
that is. And so, yeah, so it wouldn't be that high because our guidelines prevent that from going that high. And that's what I want to check with you to see if you're okay with keeping guidelines at a certain, amounts, but raising them because they're super old amounts. Like, I don't know.
See, I'm not familiar where our amounts are at,
Okay,
and I think you have to be notified. I think a bill can't be over a certain amount of dates. Or months into it for they bring you a bill. I
Right,
think,
usually we do the current amount due only, and
Right.
so if it's a $2,000 bill, the current amount is 130 or,
right,
you know, something like that.
see, and I think that's what it'd be, but I don't know what our max is set up for. 'Cause like I said, it's probably hadn't been updated for many years.
Right, right.
And I think
It
we need
varies,
to,
so.
again, look at what other people are doing and be consistent with the area. That's my thoughts anyway, but I think we have to be to the most current bill, or they have to notify you right away
Okay,
as it comes up. Because I could see that going all winter and there's,
oh yeah, it happens often.
yeah,
All right, and then another question that I thought I'd ask you real quick is, so a lot of times when a family is receiving any kind of federal assistance, then they're not qualified for county assistance. Is the way the guidelines would read. And so if they're getting Social Security at $770 a month, which obviously will cover their rent, utilities, maybe some food, it's not a whole lot beyond that in today's society. It'll say if they receive federal assistance, then they're denied county assistance. Is that something you would want to keep in there, or it depends on the situation? My biggest thought is, what if they blow a tire? Now their budget is completely blown, and now next month they're getting disconnected because they had to replace the tire, they couldn't pay their utility bill. Now this month, you know, they owe back on the utility bill, and they're trying to play catch up with the $770 a month, and is that possible? I mean, and it's typically elderly or disabled to where they don't have the means to, you know, add more money to their income, whereas you and I could get a second job or, you know, whatever.
well, I've seen through the housing that you're on the board of, that they get supplemented, especially if they're at 770 at the minimum amount of Social Security.
Right.
They have a supplement coming into it, and they also have through community action, they have a supplement on the utilities that they file for it. I know things are tight and it puts a pretty, but I have a few at my apartments that are 100% paid rent.
Right,
So
through the housing.
I think it's up to them to get the information to find out to get, because it's quite a bit of people you have to get a hold of to get that assistance.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of people just don't either know or choose not to go ask for help. And that's where we have to make sure that everything is exhausted.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's what we do when they come in here. That's why I try to know about all the different programs so
Right.
that we can go ahead and get them applying. If they don't have a phone, then I'm sitting down with them and we're making the phone call and. So, yeah. that's
Because there's a
what
lot
we
of
do.
opportunities for somebody that's at 770. Yeah.
There is, definitely, there is. Not necessarily for a blown tire unless like community action has Embrace Iowa funds, or, I mean, there's those funds that they come and go throughout the year, so. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a tough question to answer, but by experience, I know that a lot of people have without that, they couldn't make it without the state help.
yeah, the extras,
Yeah,
right,
could not make it,
yeah.
especially when your rents are 500 and you're only getting 770 a month. There's
Mhm.
no way that you can
Right,
make everything else go and then try to buy a meal too.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
So I hear you, but
well,
I just don't know the
I'll
answer.
update the guidelines and then I will present them after Adam sees them and then go from there.
Sounds great.
Any other questions?
And
Thank you.
tabling the general assistance burial.
Move on.
thing.
No, there's probably- Got a lot on your plate.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird one.
Hopefully, hopefully Adam can.
Okay.
Smart. There you go.
Bobby, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm jumping from meeting to meeting, so, okay. It's, I haven't met with the group for a while, but we have some things coming up that I wanted to just keep you aware of. I really wasn't sure whether to have the meeting before we had the next meeting or after. So it might be a good idea just to do an update after our meeting. Let's just say that the last three, well, I haven't met since January. The services and contracts we've had in place have remained the same. Some things maybe of interest to Louisa County is we have had difficulty with the providers who have our community, sorry, I'm going to say it wrong, crisis stabilization residential services, have had difficulty keeping staff. We've had some staff shortages, so our unit that we have over in Fairfield has actually been closed since late fall. And the one that we do have in Burlington has decreased the beds to 3 due to some staff shortages. So we're experiencing some difficulty just like everybody else in this world, but having difficulty maintaining staff for all the programs. But we are right now diving into contracts for the MHDS next fiscal year, and are planning to renew those contracts for the crisis stabilization residential unit, and looking at maintaining at least those 5 beds in Burlington. And also we are educating folks that we do also contract for crisis residential stabilization beds in Johnson County at the Access Center with GuideLinks, as well as those crisis stabilization residential unit beds in Ottumwa with Southern Iowa Mental Health Center. So we do have access to the service, just that the service we had in Fairfield has not been able to maintain staff to stay open. So I wanted to just educate you a little bit about that and some steps that have been taken just to educate people about the availability of that service just elsewhere. Something very recent that we are working on is, I think you all know that we've had about 5 RFPs out for an extended period of time, just looking for access to some of those other core services that we do not have currently in the SEAL region. One of those was, for example, we were looking for 23-hour observation. We don't have that currently in our counties, but we do have contracts with Ottumwa, and also that service is available up at the Johnson County GuideLinks Center. Some other things like mobile crisis response, which I'm going to talk to you about a little bit, because we did get 2 answers on the mobile crisis response service, and we have reviewed those, and we'll be meeting tomorrow after we meet with Southern Iowa Mental Health Center to hopefully assign or make an award on that contract, which means that we hopefully will have mobile crisis response available to our region starting July 1st is what we're hoping for. We also have some RFPs out for things like community-based crisis stabilization services for both adults and youth. That is something that we aspire to have, but it's really hard to build services when you are experiencing staff shortages, especially in the mental health field. So we have been doing some advocacy with legislators and at the state level about that fact, and how to partner with them. You know, maybe increase wages, increase rates for persons in the mental health field, as well as substance use, because we are seeing many of those rates haven't been increased in 20+ years for outpatient substance use, and also mental health outpatient services. And some of the providers, you know, in our areas who are hiring staff to do work with our clients, you know, they're competitive with other wages similar to, you know, other jobs that don't have quite the responsibility, I think, with individuals. So having that competition with, you know, Walmart or McDonald's or, you know, places like that make it difficult to hire and maintain staff in our field. So having a lot of those discussions as well. I think those were kind of the main things I wanted to update you on, besides the fact of the big thing So an opportunity arose, I think I talked to you back in January, where Ryan Wood, who is our CEO, has agreed to be the interim CEO for South Central Behavioral Health Region. And she's been doing that upon approval of our governing board. And we have been discussing a potential merger of counties, which will make us one region. So we will be looking at adding 4 more counties if this merger is approved into our region. So we will be looking at rebranding and expanding. Basically, I think what this merger will look like is that our region in the future may look like it aligns with the 8th Judicial District. We'll be 1 county shy of having all of the counties in our 8th Judicial District. But those opportunities to those other counties have been offered in case they would like to make that alignment. And the reason for that was not only perfect timing with the CEO of the South Central region moving on into another position, but there had been some talk at the state level about refocusing based on those judicial districts. So we just kind of took that and to move forward with the opportunity of South Central Behavioral Health needing a CEO. So we will be meeting tomorrow in Ottumwa and also by Zoom to have those discussions. And then after that meeting, we will be meeting with our governing board to hopefully discuss the subcommittee that was assigned to look into the mobile crisis response RFP request that we received, and hopefully make an assignment or award on that contract. So those are kind of the big things that we're working on. They're really big things. And in the meantime, we are working on doing contracts for next year with all of our providers and core services that we offer, as well as, you know, continuing to build those partnerships with the access centers that we have in Johnson County and Ottumwa in Wapello County. Some things that we've done in Louisa County, we have started meeting with, we call them CIT groups, and we meet out at the sheriff's office. We've had presenters come and talk about the services that they offer to help educate law enforcement too on what is available. I think that has been wonderful to open up some of those discussions. We've had a lot of people attending those, not only from law enforcement, but public health, mental health advocates, mental health providers. We've had the judge there. So it's been good to have those conversations. And also we've had guidelines come and do a presentation so that they're more aware of what those services at the access center that are open 24/7 are and how people access those services and supports. We also had our CIT law enforcement training the last week of March. I attended most of that. That was a contract with the state. Had Solutions Plus come in and do that training. We had 2 people come in from New York and Louisiana. It was really a fabulous training, I thought. We did have somebody from Louisa County attend that. And so someone in the jail director, and hopefully she, you know, learned a lot when she attended that. We were able to train 14 people who went through that course with us. And it was held over here in Washington. Other than that, I'm sure there's a lot of other things. If I take off my mental health and disability services hat and put on my other hat, just to let you know, I'm continue to be a board member on the Cedar River Haven group. And we continue to have, I think there's 6 or 7 women who are currently residing at the Haven and receiving the supports there. And that program offers support services to women with substance use related issues to help them with their sobriety and also have a haven available to live and support them so that they can continue on in their life in the future with all the supports necessary to be successful. So.
Thank
Does
you.
anybody have any questions for me or wonder?
We've been having a group, the CIT group meet out at our jail, which is good.
Yes.
I failed to make it to a meeting, but they include me with what they're doing. But that's a step in the right direction. To know what to look for and stuff.
Yes, Melissa Mace has been coordinating that. She's one of our jail directors. We have hired two, so we do have jail directors in each of our jails again. They are currently training the last one that we just hired. But Melissa has been coordinating ours in Louisa County, and I think she's done a great job. I too have had to miss a couple of them, and I will be missing the one tomorrow because I'll be in Ottumwa at the other meeting. But yeah, I would encourage any of you to attend that meeting too, to learn and have those conversations with some of the providers and see what some of the concerns of the community are.
Right, with the remodeling out there, Brandon's got him a place to meet. I worried about him having a place to meet there last week when they put out the meeting, so Brandon's got it covered.
Good.
So.
CIT is also looking at doing another training, like the CIT training we had last week was a 40-hour week training to specifically law enforcement. They're also working on some curriculum to do CIT training to the mental health providers and anyone that provides mental health related services, and do a community-based training too. And it's only going to be like a 2-day training, but it would be helpful to start educating them as well about all of the services because so many things have changed. And we want to make sure that people know how to access all of the services. And obviously with mobile crisis response moving into our region, there's going to be some more changes just in the way in which we can utilize them in supplementing the 24-hour crisis assessments that we have, and we contract those through Optime. So there will be some further discussions on, when is mobile crisis response used versus the 24-hour crisis assessment. Where can we utilize mobile crisis response, and hopefully building some more partnerships. My hope is, within the school systems, as well as our EDs and law enforcement, obviously.
Right. Well, I have no more questions.
I don't have
Else?
any.
Thank you.
Yep. So the next couple of months, we'll be working on renewing and revising all of our, if we move forward on this region, we'll be redoing our fiscal agent agreements, redoing our 2080, reviewing all of our duties and roles within the region. We'll be doing a lot of things, and we'll have to redo our annual service and budget plan. There's going to be a lot of work being done in the next few months.
Well,
Thank you.
Thanks,
yeah,
Bobby.
thank you. See you
Thank you.
later, Bobby.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy.
I'm gonna make a motion that we review, that we postpone till next meeting about the decision on general assistance guidelines and general assistance burial. I'll read my motion that we
The table,
table it.
the table, number 11. I would entertain a second. And we have a second. A motion is second, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
And then I will add you to the agenda for,
So I'll be on it on next week, but I will call and hopefully get an answer today from these guys. Do you want me to call one of you? Do you want me to call 3 of you separately? What do you want me to do?
Or text us.
you can get a hold of me and then I'll email them, because then,
That's where it should go.
So I'll call you to give you an update as far as what the funeral homes say and what the, what Adam Parsons says.
yeah.
And then you will notify them. So can I get an answer today then for the funeral home? Or, I mean, will it move quick enough for that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what, yeah.
I think if you have something back from Adam, I think you give it us.
Yeah, and I don't know what his schedule is today, but I'll definitely give him a call. I'll call funeral homes first, just so I can get those answers.
That Washington one, I'm thinking that they might.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, with that,
Make a motion to adjourn.
I just. For clarification, if you handle it through Selena, it's still a meeting, I mean, so just. Maybe kind of talking to me if you have any actual item on that.
Well, the other thing you do is call a special meeting if you wanted to.
we can do that too, but it takes 24 hours.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it doesn't bother me the way you guys are doing it.
Yeah,
I just want to have an idea of.
I just want to get the guy in the ground, so.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think the case is this is what we have. They have to make a decision as a family. I mean, it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's missed, I don't like the way the funeral director
I hate being put in that position.
didn't give anybody a heads up.
but how do you make a private business do it?
You don't. They don't have to.
But they could have sent us a letter.
Because we all know cost when. Yeah, and with my parents had that thing, they paid for that service 10 years ago and it was guaranteed.
Mhm.
They don't serve that as a guarantee anymore because they had to pay another $800. It was 1,500 they paid upfront
Mhm.
15 years ago. And it came up to 2,300 or something. We had to pay the difference. So they could change that contract.
Yeah.
I don't see why.
Well, if they, a heads up, a letter informing.
My parents got no letters. They just got a bill when they it was over and above.
It's too bad.
Well, I think I got a motion from
Yep.
Todd and adjourn. We got a second, all in favor?
That's where I think Adam needs to make that decision.
Well, at least give us some direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing else. I don't think